So everyone, I'm the cartoon Physicist, and this is Noughtie, taking back the good, the bad, and the forgotten of New Millennium. I just want to explain about this little red ribbon here. You see, during December, I'm taking part in the Red Ribbon Reviewers project, in which reviewers wear a ribbon during December to spread awareness of HIV and AIDS. It really is a serious problem, guys. It shouldn't be ignored just because they're associated with sex. You can get AIDS and HIV from a lot of other things too. You should know the various causes of AIDS and HIV and how to prevent them from happening to you, your family, and your loved ones. Not only can they harm your body, but they can become lethal if you don't treat it as soon as possible. Check out the link in the description below. It will take you to the Red Ribbon Reviewers website, which has a whole list of websites concerning HIV and AIDS. Now, you may be wondering why I wasn't wearing the ribbon in my last video, the top 10 one, since it was posted in December.
The thing is, I made that video in the middle of November, and I honestly thought I would be able to post the video on the 29th or the 30th of November. But there was a bit of a delay regarding a crucial element of that video, so I had to delay the video altogether. I had to post the video in December, which was footage of me in November without the ribbon.
Nevertheless, I'm sorry for not making that video part of the project despite its release date. So, let's get to the review that will be part of the project. The time has finally come, guys. After 10 years of waiting, we finally have a new Star Wars film! And it's not bad this time! Maybe. Possibly.
Seriously though, no one has been this excited about a Star Wars movie since the release of The Phantom Menace. And then people actually saw it. Between The Phantom Menace and the news of The Force Awakens, Star Wars fans have just been giving George Lucas the death glare. But forget The Phantom Menace itself. Remember how excited people were for a new Star Wars movie after 16 years of not having any whatsoever?
I don't. I would have been about 3 then. But you would have. And you would have noticed history repeating itself at this moment. The return of excitement and anticipation for this epic space opera. And this time, there's a higher chance of the film actually being good. So rather than focus on the actual Star Wars movies, because these are the ones I'm stuck with, I figured we should celebrate by looking at a movie about the anticipation of a Star Wars film. Fanboys. Fanboys was directed by Cal Newman, director of a lot of Star Wars related stuff, so I'd say he knows what he's doing. It was released in 2009, but it was completed in early 2006. So there were some problems.
First, they failed finding distribution despite the large amount of interest online. Then the studio kept pushing back the release date just because of a sad storyline that I don't want to spoil just yet, having difficulty deciding whether or not they should keep it in because sad stuff in a comedy is controversial or some bullshit like that. They did keep it in. though edited quite a bit to make it more mainstream or something. But then Harvey Weinstein bought the rights to the film and recut the film to remove the sad subplot entirely. That received some massive internet backlash. Harvey Weinstein was even nicknamed Darth Weinstein because of it. So a campaign was started to put the subplot back in. The internet won. Kinda. The DVD version of the film, the one we're going to look at, is the closest to the original cut we'll get. But it's not exactly the original cut. In fact, the director is not allowed to show the original cut.
Nevertheless, I'm glad the final release actually has the sad subplot. That sad subplot is what motivates the characters to break into the Skywalker Ranch to get the rough cut of the Phantom Menace very effectively, and gives the movie the heart it needs. Without it, the movie would have just ended up as an utterly off-color comedy with a very negative Big Bang Theory-esque perspective of the characters and Star Wars fans in general, making their quest for the rough cut completely based on petty straw fan greed and impatience. So you can see why the film would have left a bitter taste in my mouth without the subplot. But don't get me wrong, there are a lot of other great elements that make this film underrated. Let's find out what they are.
We of course begin with a text scroll, because Star Wars. But this time is a good thing. "55 seconds in and we already have a bit of dramatic irony."
Now, dramatic irony is expected in this movie since it's set in 1998. Period pieces usually like to give the audience a little wink through a comment regarding the future, whether ironic or not. Like, say, Abraham Lincoln saying he'll live till he's 80, but we, as the audience, know he's going to get shot. But most of the dramatic irony in this comes from the fact that the characters haven't seen the Phantom Menace, not just simply past/future related stuff. We, the audience, know what a piece of crap it is. They don't. We know it's a waste of time to get excited about. They don't. It's used effectively for way more things in the film than you may think.
Wait.
If it's sent by an iPhone, how come the sender was so pleased about the whole Galactic Civil War thing when he likely did see the prequel, since iPhones were a thing long after the prequels?
Okay. And so it's time to brace yourself for one of the most alien settings of all time. The 90s.
Never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
So we're introduced to the main characters quite quickly. There's Eric Butler, an ex-aspiring comic book artist and ex-Star Wars fan, who thinks growing up means giving up your interests. Zoe, basically a brunette Veronica Mars who's into pop culture, which basically makes her even more awesome. And then Eric's old high school friends. Of course, making the grandest entrance that any Star Wars fan can make.
Give yourself to the dark side. It's the only way we can.
You know, if they dressed like that to a costume party today, everyone else in the room would just do this.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
You guys
guys have both got to stop perpetuating this myth that Boba Fett is some kind of badass. All right, wait. He has a jetpack. So did the Rocketeer. Really cool. I mean, when it comes time for battle, the man's Michael Bay. All style, no substance. If you diss the Fett again, I will one-hole you with a lightsaber.
Didn't I just hear the exact same words from some bickering Jedi wannabes the other day? And Boba Fett is still a badass. He was just accidentally knocked over by another badass.
So yeah, these are the rest of the characters. Linus, the former best friend. Windows, essentially Donatello as a human. And Hutch. He's, imagine the Empire trying to clone Han Solo, but something went terribly wrong in the process. That resulting clone would be Hutch. Yeah, not that much to the characters, I know, but you gotta remember, this is a movie, not a TV show. It's a touch hard to add depth to characters in an hour-and-a-half long comedy. But they did try, and that has made them charismatic enough to make them not as flat as you may think. Anyway, with Eric and his old gang together again, they get drunk, talk about the upcoming Phantom Menace, as well as a plot that Linus has been planning since they were all kids. To break into the Skywalker Ranch, and additionally steal the rough copy of the Phantom Menace. Eric is not up for it, he just wants to be an adult and keep working at his dad's car dealership. In fact, that's where we find 3 out of 5 main characters the next day, along with the van that we'll be seeing throughout the entire movie.
Is it sad that I want a van like that?
Yes. Now at first, Eric thinks that Windows and Hutch are going to verbally tear him apart for being a douche at the party. But no, they've come to talk about something else.
Remember what I said about the sad subplot? What motivated the characters? Or was almost taken out of the final version of the movie? Here it is.
He's dying, Eric. What?
Yep.
He's got cancer. He's tried everything to get better, but nothing seems to work. I'd say 3-4 months, maybe.
Ta-da!
Seriously though, I'm glad they kept this in. Like I said, it would have been a completely different movie without it, edited to fit the executive's idea of the film. Another crude and mean-spirited young adult comedy film to blend in with the rest of the time. It's idiots like Darth Weinstein who don't understand what people actually want in movies. Hell, to retaliate after losing to the internet, he attempted to make sure that the film didn't get a wide release. Anyway, feeling bad, Eric tries to make it up to Linus, only to make things worse.
Hey, stop walking. Linus, hold up, man. Stop. What the hell, man? I did nothing to you.
Exactly. You did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Eric Bodler graduates high school and then never looks back. You bailed on our plan, Bodler.
What plan? To be the next big thing in comics?
Ha! Have you seen comics in the 90s? You would have to be really awesome or really, really crap to make it anywhere in the industry. And have foil covers.
You can fool everybody with this cheap suit salesman of the year pitch, but I know you better than anybody, and deep down, you are one miserable son of a bitch.
Miserable, huh?
Yeah, miserable.
Because if you ask me, miserable is wasting your life in Hutch's garage, playing video games, arguing whether or not Luke really had a thing for Leia.
You know, as well as anybody, that as soon as Luke knew Leia was his sister, it was hands off.
They still kiss.
That was Leia kissing Luke to make Han jealous.
Yeah, that was the second time. And the first time.
The first time they're
Yeah.
about to die.
They were
They
not.
were
You were
swinging 30,000 feet
But
in
you
the
know
air.
when you're a sibling, okay? There's something innate. It doesn't matter.
There's no telepathy
It
between
spans
the two
the
episodes.
ocean.
So sick.
It was not about to die.
Sci-fi up.
Yeah, that's one Star Wars debate that has everyone agreeing with one side. All of them having just one answer.
This goes beyond sick and wrong. It's wrong sick.
So you're on your own there, Eric. Look, the next day, you're ruining the illusion of this taking place in the 90s when you have the BPRD comic series right there. You could have at least had some Rob Liefeld there instead. But then again, that's a whole new level of nitpicking. The kind saved for the prequel trilogy.
What'll it be, fellas?
How much for the phaser gun?
For the phaser gun? Sorry, Garfunkel. We don't hawk Trek here.
Well then, Slim, if you don't sell the Trek, then why do you have a phaser gun in the case?
We keep this one here to suss out Trekkie bitches like yourself and tell them to get the hell off of our land. So get the hell off of our land. Get the hell off of our land! Get the hell out of here! Now! Get out of here, you Kirk-loving spy!
Seeing him that angry in that outfit almost reminds me of someone. I just can't put my finger on it.
Anyway, the next day, Eric goes to Hutch and Windows to plan a way to make peace with Linus, fulfilling their childhood dream of breaking into the Skywalker Ranch and getting the rough cut for Linus, since he'll be gone by the time the first prequel comes out. They do share this plan with Linus, but...
No. No? No, I'm not going.
Oh, Linus, you've got to go. This is a conquest for the ages. Our name shall become legend. Spoken in hushed tones by nerds across the galaxy. And we'll get...
How could he be that horny? He only has one ball.
Cutting off your balls makes you lose your libido. Cutting off your dick, in a way, builds up your horniness with no way of letting it out and makes peeing almost impossible. I knew binge watching the Amanda Hagen's reviews would pay off someday.
They do convince Linus, and the nerdiest road trip in the world begins.
What the hell, Hutch? It's all Rush. There's a little variety.
Rush is variety, bitch.
Oh, rule number one. In my van, it's Rush. All Rush, all the time. No exceptions.
Really? Nothing else?
Name another notable rock or metal band that was producing anything good during the 90s. Besides Nirvana.
Megadeth? I honestly didn't mind Risk.
Rule number two. Nobody touch the red button. Push the red button. Most importantly, rule number three. There's no jerking it in my van. What?
Brian.
Unless you're a Kevin Smith movie, I say lay off the dick jokes. Sure, I did one, but only as a response to your dry humping joke. Never mind, they're off to the Skywalker Ranch.
The headquarters of George Lucas's filmmaking empire.
Which will be conquered by a whole other empire. But first they need to meet Windows' supposed online girlfriend to get the stuff they need to break into the place. However, Hutch heads for Riverside, Iowa to mess with some Star Trek fans.
And they didn't believe that on this very spot, Captain James Tiberius Kirk will be born, hence the statue immortalizing him grappling with his most accursed nemesis.
Ricardo Montalban.
Genetically engineered tyrant Khan. Thank you for pointing that out. That is because the whores at Viacom International threatened to sue us if we use their likenesses, so we make do.
That's actually an inside joke.
You see, Viacom actually forbade the filmmakers from using Star Trek memorabilia and such, except for a scene in Las Vegas that we're going to see later. or else lawsuits.
In fact, all of my Trekker viewers out there may have noticed how wrong the uniforms and the signature Star Trek logo looks. Now back to the review already in progress.
Yep, that's okay. Hilarious, everyone. Looks like we got more Lucas hounds here to mock Roddenberry. Congratulations, gentlemen, but I would like to see your Darth Vader take on one Borg drone. We'll see who's laughing now. All right.
Darth Vader could put the entire Borg collective in a vice grip with his mind.
Of course, we got to have a classic Star Trek versus Star Wars rivalry. This is a tribute to the Star Wars fandom, after all. Though, honestly, I never understood the rivalry. It's very illogical. I mean, the two narratives are so different.
One is a 1960s TV series about prim and proper future space diplomats who can also time travel. The other is a 1970s/80s film trilogy taking place in the past in a whole other galaxy during a war with rough and tumble rogues, spiritual mysticism, and dystopian planets.
The only thing they have in common is how they both have star in their names and that they both take place in space. Meanwhile, Doctor Who is always sitting on the sidelines eating popcorn while Star Trek and Star Wars duke it out. And yet Doctor Who has more in common with Star Trek than Star Wars. Give Star Wars a chance to rest and have some popcorn. Let Star Trek and Doctor Who have a cat fight for once. Or maybe don't at all. It's pretty ridiculous to fight with another fandom just because you're not a fan of what they're into, especially when the similarities are merely the titles and the settings. Sure, I'm a Star Wars fan and not a Star Trek fan, but that's no reason to mess with the Star Trek fandom. It's just movies and a show. We should really just relax.
I hate to break it to you losers, but Han Solo's a bitch.
Throw that Trekkie wanker in the Sarlacc pit!
Trying to think what could happen here. I'll tell you one thing, we know this. The richest prize in this game is the WWF title. It is on the line right here. Look at this. Oh, for God's sakes, don't do it, Jim. Don't take this chance. Oh, look out. Jim. What the hell are they? Oh, my God. You got to be kidding me. I thought we had seen it all. Somebody will tell the story. It's about that, but just don't think. That's gonna be it right there. King, this is
Let's face it, this guy had it coming.
Darth Vader has asthma, so name me one Star Trek character with a respiratory disease, because I'm drawing a blank.
So they head off to meet Windows Online Girlfriend, but the van broke down in front of a biker bar. A gay biker bar with tons of horny hop-like bikers who make our heroes strip to pay for Linus's apparently expensive glass of water. Wow, with their bad luck, I'm surprised the Death Star didn't zap them specifically by accident.
Well, now that he mentioned Swayze, there's no stopping me from doing this.
Oh, let's have a Patrick Swayze Christmas one and all. And this can be the haziest. Ooh, this can be the laziest. This can be the Swayziest Christmas of them all. La, 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 la.
Afterwards, we have our first cameo, none other than Machete.
Machete.
Machete is more of a solution and an obstacle in this than a character, as he sidetracks the main characters by getting them high.
We are the E.T.E. Bringing the spirits from the forest glow.
also fixes their van, and they're off.
In the history of cinema, he's Han Solo, Indiana Jones, yes. Yes, exactly. Greatest actor of all time. He's never not a bad movie.
That's just a minor example of dramatic irony regarding the movie's time setting. For lack of a better word, funny, but not as major as what comes later on, or even the movie itself. You'll see. Now, the characters have been making fun of Windows for having an online girlfriend that could easily really be some big dude in his 40s. No, it's much worse.
Rogue leader, I presume.
Grade 6?
What the hell? You're a kid. You're 12.
I'm 10.
You're 10. I promise you. I'm a pedophile. I'm a pedophile.
But knowing their lack of luck, they're going to face the consequences of this right about now.
Harry Knowles. Harry who? This man is the ultimate fanboy, Eric. His website, Any Cool News, it's like every geek's homepage, man.
Until the angry video game nerd overshadows him, leaving no one left online who actually knows about him.
That's not even him, that's Ethan Suplee!
Whatever, the point is, Harry Knowles beats up Windows since his ex-online girlfriend was Knowles' niece. But after proving that they're Star Wars fans who just wanted some things from his niece to get into the Skywalker Ranch, he gives them info about a contact in Las Vegas who could help them out. So they head for Vegas to meet the contact, but first they fulfill a piece of foreshadowing from earlier and make an awesome reference at the same time.
You gotta break rule number 2. Chewie, prepare to make a jump ahead. Yes. Somebody tell me what the goddamn red button's for! It's light speed, kid. Light speed. Punch it! What? Come on! No! Okay, I'm resetting. Light speed, press it. I'm gonna take a nitrous and this thing is not firing! Please do something! What?
And of course they get arrested for this. These guys were basically born unlucky.
If I got this right. Now, you tried to outrun an officer of the law because you obtained a bag of peyote from a Mexican Indian chief who thought it would help treat your friend's terminal illness?
Yes.
It kinda makes sense that Lando is now a judge. He did run a floating city. Anyway, Zoe paid for their bail and now Eric's dad knows about this road trip. If Eric doesn't come home, he will lose his only chance to own his dad's company, which requires some dramatic contemplating. But first, some kick-assery from Veronica fucking Mars.
I just mapped out our route to Vegas on my tough book, and the closest airport's about 100 miles north of here, so all we gotta do is drop the old Zoe off, and then it's a straight shot to Sin City.
Oh! Hold on. You haul my ass out into the middle of nowhere and expect me to just jump on the first plane back? Sorry, it's not gonna happen.
What? Come on, you know this trip is men only.
I'll tell you what. I'll get on the plane if any one of you can take me down.
Listen, princess, no one wants to see you get hurt. Don't look at butts.
Oh! Help me! Oh my God! Get off of me! Be a man, Hutch! Get off of me! Hutch, save time out! Just stand there! Shoot her! Somebody shoot her! Hold me, for God's sake! God help me!
Gentlemen?
Get the jaws of life! Welcome aboard.
You would think they would have more respect for women after seeing Princess Leia be a badass so many times. But nope, Slave Leia had to mess with their heads. Oh well, back to the drama.
Yo, Bots, you okay?
No, I could do this.
Start a life here. Clean slate. Fresh air, no pressure, no responsibility. Yeah, it seems nice, man.
In theory, it sounds nice. I bet there's not even like a blockbuster video within 500 miles of here.
Like a falafel hut or...
Guys, shut up.
It's drama time, boys. Comic reliefs don't talk during drama time.
I just figured if I worked hard and sold enough cars, impressed my dad enough times, I'd feel something. You gotta find your Death Star. Okay, I'll bite. Greatest deed Luke Skywalker ever did was take down a Death Star, right? As far as I'm concerned, that's what everybody needs. You need that one badass thing that you live on forever, you know?
Never mind. You comic reliefs can talk all you want during drama time.
So they make it to Vegas. Eric and Linus go to meet their contact at a Star Trek convention, and Windows, Hatch, and Zoe simply try to have fun at a casino. However, Windows ends up pissing Zoe off.
I just have to face the facts, Zoe. I'm 24 years old, and I've only ever copulated with one woman.
Plenty of guys have only been with one woman.
I don't know that many women have only been with one woman. I'm female kryptonite.
Look, you're finer on me.
Well, yeah, of course I am. You're not a girl. You know what I mean?
No, please enlighten me.
You know every Bond villain. You constantly quote Clash of the Titans, and you beat every Zelda game Nintendo's ever released. I mean...
Turns out you're more clueless than you think. And apparently so am I.
What does that mean, Zoe? Zoe?
This is something I've got to praise the movie about. They didn't use one of my all-time pet peeves, which is the protagonist and the token girl being forced together just because it's on every hack filmmaker's checklist.
Sure, Zoe is a love interest, but not Eric's love interest. They establish at the beginning that Zoe and Eric have a platonic yet awkward relationship, while Zoe and Windows are a lot closer. They could have easily forced Zoe and Eric together just because Eric's the main protagonist, but no. They made sure Eric would only stick to his character arc of rekindling his relationship with Linus, while Windows and Zoe focus on their character arc of finally becoming a couple. It's like the original Star Wars trilogy. The people behind the trilogy could have left out the whole Luke and Leia being twins thing and forced them together just because Luke is the hero. But nope. They established Han and Leia's relationship from the beginning and developed it throughout the trilogy, focusing on their character arcs, while Luke focuses on his character arc of becoming a hero, refusing to become his father, yet realizes he should let his father's better traits influence him. Hell, the filmmakers behind Fanboys made sure Eric's character arc paralleled Luke's. Well, I think I'm losing track of what I'm saying. My point is, they're together, they're not. The film is not following the overused conventions of average films. Now Windows has messed up his chances with Zoe and goes with Hutch to meet some girls instead. Meanwhile, Eric and Linus meet their contact.
We never met.
Yeah. I think...
Hi. I can't believe that these are classified, and there's... Look at the maps, and there's badges, and there's trucking with teaching. What is this for?
Something for the ride.
This is unreal. How did you score all this stuff?
Are you kidding? I'm William Shatner. I can score anything.
Okay. How about Jerry Ryan's panties?
Anything. Next time you see Harry Knowles, tell him we're square.